Yeah guys, so see, this is the requirement which I have given. We need to insert the data into table. Whatever the data that we have inserted, we need to retrieve that data and we need to display in the another page. So how many web pages we need to create here? 2 web pages we need to create here. And let me tell you the process of this. First thing is step 1, create dynamic web project. That is we are going to develop a web application by using servlets, JDBC, JSP and JSTL also. I'm using JDBC plus servlets plus JSP plus JSTL plus MySQL plus MVC. This is the project stack, right? Now, I want to build a project by using JDBC, servlets, JSP, JSTL, MySQL and MVC. JDBC we are using for database communication purpose. JDBC we are using for database communication purpose. Servlets we are using for business logic and JSP for presentation. JSTL to avoid Java code in the JSP, we are using JSTL tag library. And MySQL database we are using as a persistent store to store the data and retrieve the data. MVC design pattern I am using to develop our application with a loosely coupling. I want presentation layer separate, business layer separate, persistence layer separate. For that I am going to follow MVC architecture. First step, create dynamic web project. Create a dynamic web project. Second step, add required libraries. Add required libraries in project lib folder. What are the libraries we are adding? The first one is servlet-api.jar to develop a servlet program. And we need to add that MySQL connector jar. We need to communicate with the MySQL database. And we need to add JSTL.jar. To work with the JSTL tag library, we need to download JSTL jar file and we need to keep that in the project lib folder. MySQL connector jar is required to communicate with the MySQL database. MySQL connector jar file is required. And we need Hikari CP. Hikari CP.jar is required. SLF4j jar is required. SLF4j.jar file. So these jar files we need to keep in the project lib folder. Then fine. Third one, create table in database. We need to create a table in the database to store the data and retrieve the data. Then fourth step, create dbconfig.properties. Create dbconfig.properties file and store database details, URL, username, password, driver class, all that information we will keep in the dbconfig.properties file. Then next one, create connection factory class. Create connection factory class to get a DB connection. Getting the connection from the database directly is not recommended. That's why I'm going to create a connection pool to get the connections. All right. Next one. Here we are having DAO. Create user DAO.java class to store and retrieve data. Java class with required methods. With required methods to store and retrieve the data. This is my user DAO class with required methods to store and retrieve the data. In order to create the DAO class, first we need to create DTO. Create user DTO.java class to represent user data. First we need to create a user DTO class to represent the data. Then we need to create a DAO class with the methods to retrieve and store the data. Then create servlets, either one servlet or two servlets. Create servlet classes to handle requests. Create servlet classes to handle requests. Then next step, create JSP files for presentation logic. Create JSP files for presentation logic. Run the application and test it. Run the application and test it. Or you can say debug the application. You need to debug the code, how that is working. Is it working as expected or not? This is the procedure to develop our project. Create dynamic web application. Add required libraries in the project folder. Create a table in the database. Whatever the table we need, users table. Create properties file to store the DB data. Create connection factory class to get the database connection. Create a DTO class to represent user data. Create a DAO class with the methods to store and retrieve the data. Create servlet classes to handle the request. Create JSP files for presentation logic. Debug the application and test it. For any project, this is common. This is common for any project. Now, let me go and create a project. File, new, dynamic project. I'm giving the project name as user web application. User web application I'm giving as project name. Click on next, next, web.xml, finish. My project is created. I need to keep the jar files in the lib folder. All right. Now let me take the jar files, advanced Java jars, Hikari CP, MySQL, Servlet, SLF4J. Which jar is missing? JSTL jar is missing. Go and download the JSTL. Download JSTL 1.2.jar. Okay. Download JSTL jar file. Jar download. Yeah, jar files downloaded. Let me check that. JSTL jar file is available. Take this jar file. Let me keep in my folder. Yeah, I'm keeping this here. Copy this. Go to the project. Keep them in the lib folder. Instead of adding to the build path, I'm keeping the jar files in my lib folder. Then refresh the project. Okay. So with this, we are able to complete that step. Creating dynamic web application, adding the jars part is completed. Create a table in database. Now, I want to create a user table. Create table user details. Okay. I want some columns in the table. I'm going to take it as user ID, integer. I will be specifying auto increment. Why we are going for auto increment? We no need to set the ID every time. Username varchar2 of some 100. Username, email, phone number. User underscore email, that is also varchar2 of 100. And user phone number, user underscore phone number, that also int value. Like this, I'm specifying my user table. Let me create this table in the database. Go to MySQL workbench, varchar 2. Right. User ID, username, email, phone number. For a user ID, I have given auto increment. Now select this query. Yeah, table got created. show tables. I am having user details table. This is my query to create the table. Yeah, this is the query to create the table. Perfect. Now let me go and create the file, that is db properties, new file. I'm using db.properties. In this db.properties, you can configure database URL, username and password. Think here db config properties are available. Let me copy them. DB username, DB password, URL, username and driver. This is my database name. DB properties available. Once the DB properties are available, what is the next step, guys? Table is created, DB properties also created. What is the next step? Connection factory. We need to develop a class to get the connection. New class. I'm keeping this class inside a package. I'm keeping this inside a package in.ashokit.util. Package name is there and class name is connection factory. Okay. Now here I'm going to declare private data source. Private data source ds is equal to null value. I can make it as private static data source. A static variable I'm writing because I want to access that inside a static method. Let me write a method public connection, public static connection, get connection. Done. I want to import that connection package. And I have seen lot of people are not following proper naming conventions, right? See how I am writing the class name, how I am writing the package name. You need to follow that naming convention. Public static connection, get connection. I want to get the database connection here. I'm writing try catch exception E. Okay. E dot print stack trace. First of all, in order to get the connection, I need to load the properties file and I need to read the data. Then I need to create the connection. So I'm going to take connection con is equal to null value. And finally, I need to return that connection. Got it? Fine. Good. So fine. First tell me how to read that. How to read that data from the properties file? Can you tell me, guys? How to read the data from the file? I'm going to use file input stream FIS is equal to new file input stream of that new file. I need to give the path of the file. Full path I need to give. I need to give the full path. Let me go to my project, new workspace, user web app. This is my file path. Take this / db.properties. db.properties. I got it. Now properties class I'm creating. Properties p is equal to new properties. Properties p is equal to new properties. P dot load of file input stream. Now I got my properties. I need to create the Hikari config class. Hikari data source object I need to create. So Hikari config is equal to new Hikari config. I want to set my username, password and all. Can you guys tell me how to set that? Config dot set username. Where is the username? P dot get property. P dot get property of key. What is the key? db.uname. This key you need to copy and you need to give here. Similarly, I need to set config.set password. P dot get property of db.password. Okay. Next one, config.set URL, set JDBC URL. P dot get property of db.url. Next one, config dot set driver class name, p dot get property. What is the key? db dot driver. Take this. Okay, db dot driver. We are creating config. With this config, I want to create my data source. So how to create the data source? Data source ds is equal to new Hikari data source. For that, I am passing my config object. Clear, guys? Always am I going to create the data source? Data source should be created every time, or data source should be created only one time? Only one time. If ds is equal to null, if data source object is null, then only we are going to create the data source. Otherwise, we will use existing data source only. If data source is null, then only we are going to create the data source. Actually, can I keep this logic also inside this? If data source is null, then only I am going to load the properties, then only I am going to get the data source and create the connection. Directly here I will return ds dot get a connection. So now, what is the purpose of this connection factory? What is the purpose of this connection factory? This connection factory is used to return data source object. It is used to return data source object. If ds is equal to null, then do this operation. If ds is equal to null, perform this operation. If ds is not null, then return ds dot get source. If there is some exception, it will be returning a null value. Got my point? So now here connection con is available already, or else connection con is available. I can store that here. Con is equal to ds dot get connection, return connection object. All right, fine. Here I'm creating a connection object. Here I'm checking if ds is null, I'm creating the data source. If ds is not available, it will create the new data source. If ds is already available, it will return the connection from the existing ds. Finally, this method is going to return connection object. Are you clear? Good. With this connection factory is ready to give the connection. Then what is the next class? DTO. What is the purpose of DTO? To represent the data. I want to transfer the data from one class to another class. Okay. So DTO class I will create inside a separate package with a name called user DTO. So keep the package name as DTO, user DTO class. Now let me keep it private integer user ID. Anything is fine. Wrapper class also we can use. Private string user name, private string user email, here user name, user phone number, private string user phone number. I have taken 4 variables: user ID, user name, email, and phone number. I need setters, getters for these variables to set the data and get the data. Setters and getters available to set the data to get the data. This part is completed. Next one, DAO. Many people are not able to write the DAO even after giving the methods also. These are the methods I have given. Still people are not able to write the DAO methods. Now, let's look at our requirement. How many operations we are performing? 2 operations. One is inserting the data. Another one is retrieving the data. So to insert the data, I will write one method. To retrieve the data, I will write one method. Okay. I need a separate package, new class, user DAO, in.ashokit.dao. Now, first, I need a method to insert the data. Form data, that means it is having 3 fields. I will get the 3 fields data to insert into database. First of all, write a query, private static final string insert SQL. Now, how many columns available in the database, guys? 4. How many columns available in our table? Table columns. How many columns available? 4 columns. But how many fields data coming from the UI? Only 3. Okay. User ID will not come from the form. It is a auto increment value. You no need to set that value. Now my query will be insert into user details. What I am inserting? User name, comma, user email, comma, user phone number. These 3 columns data only I'm going to insert values, first positional parameter, second positional parameter, third positional parameter. So this is my query, guys. Insert SQL. Username, user email, user phone number. This comma. Correct. This is my query. Insert into user details, username, email, phone number. Am I inserting ID? No. ID is not coming from the form. ID will be generated by database only because of auto increment. So this is one method, one query to insert the record. This is one query which is used to insert the record. Insert into user details. I need second query, private, static, final, string, select SQL. I want to select all the records. Simple. Select a star from table name. Select star from user details. That's it. Select a star from user details. I need to retrieve all the records from the table. For this, I need to write the methods now. I need to write the methods. First one method to insert the data, another method to retrieve the data. Insert method will take the data from the user. Retrieve method will not take the data, will give you the data. Insert method will take the data. Retrieve method will give you the data. Based on that, you need to write method parameters and return types. Got it? I'm going to get user data. For that, I'm writing a method called public boolean save user. See the readability of my code. If anybody look at my code easily, they will understand. This is user DAO. This is save user. This is insert SQL. This is select SQL. 90% of the people in our class not following the naming convention. They created a class as DAO.java. They created a class as DTO.java. Which DTO, which DAO? That is for which database communication? It is for user table communication, user DAO, user DTO, user servlet. That naming conventions are very important. Right. Save user. I'm taking user DTO object as a parameter. User DTO object I'm taking as a parameter to insert the record into the table. Now, here I'm writing try catch block. Exception may come. That's why I'm keeping that inside try catch block. E dot print stack trace. Okay. Here, boolean is saved is equal to false. Initially, I'm taking is saved is equal to false. Return is saved. I'm taking one boolean variable inside this method, which is representing is saved is equal to false. Now here, I need to insert the record. If there is no exception in the try block, I will make it as is saved is equal to true. Initially, I'm taking is saved is equal to false. If this try block is executed successfully, that means no exception. I'm setting is saved is equal to true. Suppose if there is some exception in the try block, what is the value available? False value. This method will return false value. I need a connection. Connection factory. Connection factory dot get connection. I'm storing into con variable. I want to insert the record. Query is available. Static query, dynamic values, dynamic values. Statement or prepare statement or callable statement. Prepare statement. Tell me the code. Con dot prepare statement. Insert SQL. Insert SQL, which is giving me prepared statement object, which is PSTMT. Can I execute prepare statement directly, or I need to set the values for the parameters? First, I need to set the values. How many parameters available? 3. What are the indexes? 1, 2, 3. Right. PSTMT dot set a string of first one is username. Okay. DTO dot get a username. Second one is PSTMT dot set a string of email. Okay. DTO dot user DTO dot get email. Third one is phone number. PSTMT dot set long 3 user DTO dot get a phone number. I think in the 1 minute.
Sir, you have.
Yeah, here it should be long value. Okay. When it is long, I need to regenerate my setters and getters. Okay, perfect. Now I'm setting these values. Then PSTMT dot execute update. It is an insert query, right? Execute
user email
update.
is double.
Email 2 times.
User dot get username. Okay. Yep. Username, user email, phone number. PSTMT dot execute update. What it is doing? It is giving count. What is that count represents? The rows which are affected in the database. Okay. Here what I can do is, if count is greater than 0, then I can mention is saved is equal to true. Otherwise it will be false. So this is the method which is taking user DTO object as a parameter. It is inserting a record in the table and it is returning true or false value. True means record is inserted. False means record is not inserted. So this method is taking DTO object because form data is coming. That form contains user data. That user data we need to insert into database table. For that we are having save user method. Method parameter is available. Method return type is also available. That is for saving the user. Next, view records. I want to display the users. View users means I want to display the user. When I am clicking on view records hyperlink, am I giving any data? Do I need to send any data to server? No, I just want to get the data which is available in the table. So in the table, one user will be available, or in the table, multiple users will be available. In the table, multiple users will be available. How to represent multiple users data? Collection. Okay. Now let me go for a method, right? Public list of user DTO get users. Anything is fine. I'm writing a method with a name called list of DTO. Can I go like this also? User DTO. If I do like this, what is the problem? How many records that method can return? Only one record. But in my table, more than one record is available. So in the Java, to represent more than one record, we have arrays, we have collections. If I go for an array like this, what is the problem? Array means size is fixed. Can we fix the size of the array now? We don't know, because so many records will be keep on inserting into the table. For every insertion, the record count is going to change. Arrays are not suitable here. If you know the fixed size, if you know the size of if you know the number of records, then only go for arrays. But in this scenario, I don't know how many records will available in the table when I am retrieving the data. Today 10, tomorrow 50, after 1 month, 1 lakh records can come. That's why I'm using a concept called collection. Now, so here to represent collection of objects, I need to create user DTO. Users is equal to new array list. What is array list? What is array list, guys? Array list is used to store the group of objects. Array list is used to store group of objects. Perfect. array list object I am creating. Finally, I'm going to return users. So is there any parameter for the method? Is there any parameter for the method? No. Is there any return type for the method? Yes. What is the method return type? What is the method return type? List of users, because I want to retrieve all the records. That's why my method return type is list of users. So to store the list of users, first we need to create the collection object. First I need to store the collection object. I need to create the collection object. Why I am creating collection object? To represent a list of users. To represent a list of users. All right. Now let me write the code to get that data. Try catch, exception E. Then let's go for E dot print stack trace. Now let me get the connection. Connection factory dot get connection. I'm storing into connection variable. Here I need to execute a query. My query is a static query or my query is a dynamic query? Static. Is it changing? No, it is a fixed query. So statement is sufficient or prepare statement is required? Statement is sufficient. Tell me, come on. Con dot create statement. Con dot create statement. Store that into statement object. Then statement dot execute query. Select SQL. What it is returning? It is giving me result set object. We already discussed result set will maintain a cursor before the first record. We need to move the cursor to next record. Now, how to move the cursor to next record? While rs dot next. While rs dot next. For every row, one user record is available. Now, so to represent each user, I'm creating user object. User is equal to new user DTO. User DTO is equal to new user DTO. Now, user dot set user ID. User dot set user ID. So now data is available in the result set. Now I need to get that. Result set dot get of int of 1. User dot set user name. Okay. That is rs dot get string of 2. Next one. If you are not sure about the indexes, then you can specify that column names also. User ID, user name, anything is fine. User ID, user name. Similarly, email and phone number. User dot set user email, rs dot get string of user underscore email. Now set user phone number. Set user phone number, rs dot get int of user underscore phone number. Longer, okay. Get long of phone number. So now in the integer, okay, then I need to take it as an integer here. If it is integer, then I need to take it as integer here. Okay. Now at the time of insertion also, I need to do this as a set int. Get int. Perfect. Now with this, one user object is created. That user object I will add it to my collection. Whenever loop is executed, one record will come. That record I'm setting to user. Then users dot add. Users dot add of user. Adding each user to collection. Adding each user object to collection. Some people are creating this object outside the loop. If you create this object outside the loop, only last record will be available. Every row will represent one user object. So this user DTO you need to create inside the loop. And for that user DTO, you need to set the result set data. That result set data after setting to user object should be added to users collection. Finally, I am returning users collection object. Are you clear? So what is the purpose of this method? What is the purpose of this method? This method is used to retrieve the data. So how I'm retrieving the data from the database by using statement. I'm getting result set. In my result set, multiple records will be available. Each record I'm iterating and I'm storing to DTO object. Each DTO object I'm storing to array list. Finally, I am returning my array list. So whoever call this method, they will get a list of user objects. That list of user objects we need to display in the JSP page. Are you clear with this one? Yeah. Any questions? First method is save method. Second method is retrieve method. Retrieve method does not have a parameter, only return type. Save method having object as parameter, returning boolean. Can you by heart this? Why? If you by heart this method signature, method code, you will develop only today's project. Tomorrow requirement will be different. So based on the functionality, you need to understand what method is required, what parameter is required, what return type is required. So dynamically you need to think and you need to write it. That is called analysis. Type generic. We are telling that in this array list, I want to store only this kind of objects. Okay. DAO completed, DTO completed. What is the next step? Servlet. Okay. Let's go and create a servlet, new class, user servlet. I'm creating a package in.ashokit.servlet. User servlet is my package. Perfect. Make it as a servlet @web servlet. I can give this name as user. Okay, user. /user. I need two methods. One is for inserting the data. Another one is for retrieving the data. For this, I need to extend the properties from HTTP servlet. Extends HTTP servlet. Override do get method and override do post method. Do get method I will use to retrieve the data. Do post method I will use to insert the data. Got it? So do get method and do post method. First, let me implement insertion. Let me implement insertion. Form data. Now, how to capture form data? Do you know how to capture form data? We are already having request object. Okay. Request dot get parameter user name. Okay. We will get it as a name. Now, request dot get parameter. We are getting the user name. Next one. String email is equal to request dot get parameter of email. Here I'm just writing the logic to capture that form data. User email and string phone number. Request dot get parameter of phone number. Request dot get parameter of phone number. I got the form data. Now, servlet will insert in the database, or servlet should give the data to DAO. Servlet is going to insert the data, or servlet will give the data to DAO. Servlet will give the data to DAO. Okay. Now, fine. I need to create a DTO object to set the data. User DTO is equal to new user DTO. User dot set user name. I will be setting the name. User dot set user email. Email is available. User dot set phone number, integer value, parseInt of phone number. Whatever the data we are getting from the form, that data we are passing to DTO object. Then user DAO object. DAO is equal to new user DAO. DAO dot save user. I am passing that DTO object. is saved. Okay, here I am capturing my form data. Here I am setting the data to DTO object. Here I am calling my DAO method. Okay, now if is saved, if it is saved, then else, what is the meaning of if is saved? True, record is inserted, else record is not inserted. Now for that we can specify string message is equal to null value. Now I will write message is equal to user saved, and here I will write message is equal to user not saved. That's it. User saved and user not saved. So now first capturing form data, capture form data. Now here set the data to DTO object, set form data to user DTO object for transfer. I want to send this DTO object from servlet to DAO. Then call the DAO method. Call DAO method. Servlet is calling DAO. Servlet capturing the form data. Servlet setting the data to user DTO object, and servlet calling DAO method. DAO has given some status. If the status is true, user is saved. Else user is not saved. Now that message should be displayed on the same page. Are you getting my point? When I submit that form, message should be displayed on the same page. Now I want to send a message to the same page. Request came. Whenever I click on submit button, request came to servlet. Servlet will process the request, will redirect the request to the same page. How to redirect the request to the same page? By using request dispatcher. Okay, here I'm going to get request dot set attribute. I'm going to set message key and value. I want to display success message or failure message. Now this is my key, this is my value. Then the next one, request dot get request dispatcher. What is that? Index.jsp dot forward request and response. That's it. Yeah, index.jsp. Right? Whenever I click on submit button, do post method will be called. Do post method capturing the form data, setting the data to DTO, calling the DAO, preparing a message, setting the message in the request attribute, and redirecting the request from servlet to JSP. Redirecting the request from servlet to JSP. Can we check it? Is it working or not? Yes. Now I need to create one JSP as a welcome page. SRC main web app. Here I am creating a file JSP with a name called index.jsp. In this JSP, I need to display my form. Okay. So let me go for table. Inside the table, I will go for form. Now form, inside the form, I need to specify action. Form action is equal to user, method is equal to post. Method is equal to post. Perfect. Form tag. Yeah. Inside the table, I will write a table row. Inside the table row, I will write a table data, username, username I want as a text field. Okay. Input type is equal to text. Input type is equal to text. Name is equal to name. Input type is equal to text. Name is equal to name. Okay. Fine. Similarly, email and phone number required. Email, phone number button. Here username or name, whatever. Name, email, input type is equal to email. Name is equal to email. Here phone number. Input type is equal to number. Name is equal to phone number. Okay. Now I will be giving one button. Input type is equal to submit. Value is equal to save. Value is equal to save. This is my form. Okay. This is my form. Now inside this form only I want to display a message. Servlet is sending the message in the request. What is the purpose of request.set attribute? To store the data in the request. Whatever the data stored in the request, I need to get that data. How to get that data in the JSP? By using scriptlet you can get it, or by using expression language also we can get it. Now JSP expression request dot get attribute. Request dot get attribute. What is the key? Message is the key. This is request. Request is a implicit object. Request is a implicit object. Request dot get attribute of message. No. Request dot get attribute of message. Or else JSP expression. JSP expression. I have the data in my request object. From the request object, I want to get that value. Request dot get attribute key. What is my key? Message is my key. Okay. So like this, I am writing my scriptlet. What is the purpose of what? This is not scriptlet. This is expression to print the message. Where is the message? In the request object. Request dot set attribute of message key value. My servlet to do post method redirecting the request to index JSP. On that index JSP, I am calling request dot get attribute of message. Whatever the message my servlet is storing, that message I will access in my JSP page. Name, email, phone number. You see here, name, email, phone number. I'm capturing the data. Let's try. Right click, debug as, debug on server. Next, finish. I'm running my project in the debug mode to understand whether it is working as expected or not. Okay. Application started. Application started. It opened in the browser like this. Okay, let me go to Chrome browser. Yeah, this is my user web app. What is this value coming here? Null value. Why it is coming as a null value? Why it is coming as null value? When my index.jsp page is opened, it is not able to get this message here. No. First of all, it will not go to servlet, right? This index.jsp page will be opened as a welcome page. When the index page is opening, it is getting request.get attribute of message. But is there anything available as a key message initially? No. So with the given key, I'm trying to get the value. As that key not available, it is giving a null there. It is giving null value. So instead of this, can I go to scriptlet? Can I go to scriptlet? JSP scriptlet. Inside this scriptlet, we can write the Java code. Request dot get parameter of message. Now it is giving me string message. Okay. If message not equal to null, get attribute. Sorry, request dot get attribute. Request dot get attribute message. If a message not equal to null, out dot print. Right here I am writing scriptlet. What is the purpose of scriptlet? To write the Java code. What I am doing in this scriptlet? I'm getting the request attribute by using a key. Who will store this request attribute? Servlet. setting the data, setting message to display in the same page, setting message to display on index page. From index page is my welcome page. Initially, my welcome page will open. In that welcome page, I am writing a scriptlet. Okay. First time, whenever this page is loaded, scriptlet will be executed. When the scriptlet is executed, request.get attribute of message. In the request object, message will be available initially or message will not be available initially. Message will not be available initially. So if message not equal to null, this will not be printed. Okay. Now let's go to our project. Let's refresh it. Send the request. Now my form is displayed with a save. Okay. I want to print one more thing here as a title. Save user. Some H2. Save user. Now refresh. Save user form is displayed. Now enter some details. Some Raju @gmail.com. Raju phone number. Click on save method. When I click on save method, there is a breakpoint in my servlet. There is a breakpoint in my servlet. Go to F6 name. Am I able to capture? Name is coming or not? Yes. Email coming? Yes. Phone number coming. So that means these are 3 lines of code working as expected. I'm able to capture form data. Okay. Now I'm setting the data to DTO object. I'm setting the data to DTO object and I am calling my DAO method. Go inside that method. First one is saved. It is false. Connection factory dot get connection. Hikari connection pool we are using to maintain the connections. It is talking to the connection pool to get the connection. See, it is taking time. I got the connection. Prepare statement object. With that prepare statement object, I'm trying to execute my query. What is the count? 1. What is the meaning of that? Query is executed, record is inserted. F6. Is saved is equal to true. What I am returning? Is saved is equal to true. Now, is saved is true. What is the message now? User saved. What I am doing? Request.set attribute. What is the purpose of request.set attribute? If you want to send any message from servlet to JSP, you can send that by using request attribute. From this servlet, I want to send a message to JSP. For that, I am using request.set attribute, key comma value. Now, after this, I am using dispatcher. What is the purpose of dispatcher? What is the purpose of dispatcher? It is used to redirect the request from one resource to another resource. Here, from servlet, I am redirecting the request to JSP. Okay, index.jsp. F8. Now go to our JSP page. Can you see this message? User saved coming on the same page or not? Yes, message coming to say to display that user got saved successfully. Go to database and check it. Show tables. User details is our table. Select star from user details. Raju email, Raju ID. Am I inserting the ID? ID generated. How? Auto increment. Generally, IDs we don't insert. Database has to generate them. I'm inserting only name, email, and phone number. ID populated automatically. Is there anything new which we have not discussed in the class? Developing a form, capturing the form data, inserting a record, getting the connection from connection factory. We discussed the concepts separately, but you are not able to integrate them. That is the problem. Capturing the data from the form, storing the data into DTO object, calling the DAO method by passing the DTO, whatever the message we want to display, setting that message in the request attribute, redirecting the request to the same JSP. Wherever form is available, my request is redirected to same JSP. In that JSP, how to get this message? This message is key. I'm writing a scriptlet request.get attribute of message. I'm typecasting to string because Get attribute method will give object as a return type. I can't print that object. I typecast it to string. If a message is not equal to null, then only print it. Initially, when the JSP page is loaded as a welcome page, message will be available or message will not be available. First time when you access the URL like this, when you access our application like this, message is not coming. The reason, it is not send the request to servlet. Directly my JSP page is loaded as a welcome page. So that is the reason I'm checking a condition. If a message not equal to null, then only print it. When I send a request, to the servlet, here I'm writing Rani @gmail.com and phone number, some value. I click on save. When I click on the save, what will happen? It will send a post request. To whom it is sending a post request? To user servlet. What user servlet will do? Capture form data, store the data to DTO, call the DAO, set the message in the request, redirect the request to the JSP. In that JSP, if a message not equal to null, then only print that message. Now click on submit, save, user saved. Go to database, select star from user details. There are 2 records available. For Rani, ID is 2. For Raju, ID is 1. 2 records are inserted to table. Are you clear? Next one, I want to display all the records in the another page. The records are already inserted. I want to retrieve the records and I want to display the records. Now, in order to do that, in the first page, I need to add one hyperlink, view records. Most of the people has done mistake here also. This hyperlink should call servlet, not the JSP. So many people configured JSP name here. That is wrong. See, I'm going to create one hyperlink in the same page. In the index.jsp page only, I'm going to create a hyperlink. href is equal to, what is my servlet URL? User. Now I am keeping view users. Right. Now go to our index page, refresh this. Am I getting the hyperlink? View users. What should happen when I click view users? It should call the servlet. It should send a get request to the servlet, because save means post request. View means get request. I need to get the data from the database. I need to display the data in the JSP. Some people directly return the logic in the JSP to call the DAO. What is the use of MVC? JSP should contain Java code, or JSP should contain only presentation logic. Only presentation logic. Now see, already I have my servlet, do get method. What is the purpose of do get method? Get the data, call the DAO, user DAO, user DAO. Let me stop my server. User DAO is equal to new user DAO. Okay. Then user DAO dot get users. What it is doing now? It is giving me all the users data. It is giving me all the users data. Now my servlet able to communicate with the DAO and my servlet getting the data. Servlet should print the data, or servlet should tell to JSP to print the data. Servlet should print the data, or servlet should give the data to JSP to print the data. Servlet should give the data to JSP to print it. How servlet can send the data to JSP? Come on. Request dot set attribute. Earlier in my method, I'm sending one message. Earlier I'm sending one message. How I am sending a message from servlet to JSP? How I am sending a message from servlet to JSP? Set attribute. Now I want to send a message, or I want to send a users list. Earlier, when the record is inserted, I sent a message from servlet to JSP. They want break, huh? Fine. We'll give up 5 minutes. Guys, now here earlier my do post method is sending a message from servlet to JSP. This point you need to remember. How to send the message from servlet to JSP? By using request dot set attribute. How to get that message? Request dot get attribute. Now do post method sending one message to the JSP. What to do get method should do? What the do get method has to do? Set the list in the request. Whatever the user list is available, send this user list to the JSP. How to send a user list to the JSP? Same process. Request dot set attribute. Key can be anything. I can give this as users. This is my value. Key comma value. Key comma value. Okay. Here do get method getting the data from the DAO. I got the users list. That users list I am adding to request attribute so that data will go from the servlet to JSP. Then redirect the request. How to redirect the request? Request dot get request dispatcher. Okay. This is view users dot JSP. There is another JSP here to display the data. View users dot JSP dot forward request comma response. That's it. 4 lines of code. My servlet is calling the DAO method. DAO method is returning the list of users. Users data I am setting in the request attribute. Then I am redirecting the request from servlet to JSP. Now, what logic I need to write in the JSP? Print the data. What is the responsibility of the JSP now? Print the data. Which data? Which is given by servlet. How to access this data? Key. Key is users, value is users data. That's fine. Now, I need to create a JSP with this name. What is this? View users.jsp. Okay. Create that file. New JSP file. View users.jsp. To print this data, you can write Java code by using scriptlet, but that is not recommended. We need to go for JSTL. To avoid Java code in the JSP, JSTL is available. We need to include that JSTL directory here. JSP, suppose for example, you don't know how to print that data in the JSP. Go to Google, type in the Google. Okay, print list in JSP using. Did I complete that? How many people has done that search in the Google? Because of that, auto suggestions are coming. That is called self-learning process, guys. So people are saying that, sir, we are not understanding JSTL. We are not able to write the J. You are not understanding. That is fine. Where you are searching that? How you need to learn that? Where is that searching technique? How many things you need to learn from someone? Self-learning is important. You have seen that guy who came. He joined as Java developer, but what he is working today? DevOps, AWS. The industry needs all-rounders. You should not complain that sir is not explained JSTL, so we are not able to. I did not explain. I know that. I have given opportunity for you to learn. Suppose this code, if I write 2 days back in the class, what you will learn? Anything? Is there any benefit? No. Some people tried. They are able to do it on their own. They have confidence. Yes, I can go for experience interviews. I can develop the code on my own. The people who are not able to develop, they understood what is their problem. Teaching is different, right? I can explain the requirement. Same day I can develop the code. I can give the code to you. If I do that, who will get benefit? I will get benefit. I will get benefit. Are you guys getting my point? Why I have cancelled 2 days classes? Am I going to get anything with the 2 days? I have cancelled. Some people may feel bad. Sir is not taking classes regularly. That complaint also will come. Yes or no? Sir is coming to the institute. We are coming from so much distance. He is scolding, cancelling the class. You will feel bad about that. Suppose last 2 days, I did not scold. I did not give the task. Directly explain the requirement, open the Eclipse, write the code, complete. Within 1 hour code will complete. Then you people will ask, sir, please share the code. I will zip that. I will send in the group. You people will download, copy paste, run it. Output will come. You will feel that your project is completed. Tomorrow when they give new requirement, what you guys learned in the last 2 days? How to send the data from servlet to JSP, how to print JSTL data, you guys learnt on your own. Will you forget that in future? Where status? First time. Some people are learning on their own. The people who are not able to do, I'm not saying that you are not good. You need to improve. If I directly write the code now, nothing you are going to learn. I can complete this code within 1 hour. I can send that project to you. You can run in your system. Output will come, but maturity will not come. Confidence will not come. Tomorrow when you join in the company, survival will become difficult. Daily new task will come. You can't do it because you are not able to analyze. You never tried doing on your own. That will create a problem in the company. They will see 1 day, 2 days, 1 week, 1 month, you are not doing, fire. Because you are not capable for the development activity. Whatever the struggles people will face in the company, those struggles our students will face in the course only. Are you getting my point? Whatever you are going to face the problems in the company, those problems you will face in our course only. I will not tell you complete thing because I want you to do some research. I want you to learn on your own. Then you will become very good in the analysis. Array, sir is not explaining completely. I have to do it on my own. If you don't do it, I will not allow for the class. By hook or crook, you have to complete it. That is the best way to learn the technology, guys. Always faculty teaching, you are listening, copy pasting the code will not give you confidence. Change your mindset. Now see here. The problem is I have a list now. That list I want to print in the JSP. I don't know how to print it. Just to go to Google, print list in JSP using JSTL. How to display list in the tabular format in JSP using JSTL. Whatever our requirement is there, same thing available in the Google. I have list of objects. I want to print the list of objects in the JSP as a table by using JSTL. Go to this link. Okay. Scroll down. My bean is there. Code is available. Exactly may not work. Copy paste and modify. So print table headers, and here items means our list data. We have for each tag in the JSTL to print our data. Very clearly they have given what we need to print it. See here. Your list will go here where I.id, I.name for each tag. Table with a printing. Use a table tag and iterate your list. This is the code we need to write to print our list data in the JSP as a table. Okay. In order to use this JSTL tag library, first we need to add the tag lib directive. JSP tag lib, JSTL core, prefix is C. This is the reference for JSTL tag library. This is the reference for JSTL tag library. Okay. How I am getting this? See, control space 2 times. I'm pressing control space 2 times. I'm getting the tag lib. Select this tag lib. It will show you all the tag libs. We need to go for core tag library, JSTL core, select it, prefix C automatically. Got it? So now I got the JSTL tag library C. In that JSTL tag library, there is a tag called for each tag. It is used to iterate the list. Okay. Now I want a table to print that data. Table. A table contain rows and columns. Each record will print in one row. Okay. For that, C colon for each. C colon for each. Now, in this for each, I will specify my items. Items means list. Which list you want to print? Items is equal to dollar. Items is equal to dollar. What is the list we are sending? Users. Now, take that users here. Where is equal to each user will be stored into user variable. That is the meaning of where. C colon for each. Items is equal to dollar of users. Where is equal to user. Before this, I need to print a table header. Okay. T head, T body. T head and T body. Now inside the T head, TR will be available table row. Now TD, I will be specifying serial number, TD name, okay, and TD email and TD phone number. Perfect. Now I need to print this data in the body. In the body, every record will be printed in a row, TR. For each tag, one row should be created. For each, inside the for each, I'm writing TR. Okay. Inside this, TD. Now how many values? 4 values. Okay. Here, user data. Users is a list. From this list, users data, I will get one user. That user I will print by using dollar user dot user name. Okay. Now user email, user phone number, user name, user email, user phone number. Sir, what is this username, email, phone number? Our DTO variables. Username, user email, user phone number. Because in my servlet, I'm setting list of DTOs. Each DTO I'm iterating, I'm storing into user variable. User dot username. That means this username will come. Now, serial number I want to print. To print the serial number, where status is equal to index. Now, TD dollar of index dot count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to print the serial number. This will print a table. This will print a table data. Huh? Yeah, it will print the data in the table format. Okay. Now, above this table, I need one hyperlink. Ahref is equal to index.jsp, add new user. Add a new user. Perfect. Now, go here, run this application, run on server. Next and finish. Okay. Records are there. Click on view users. Users are coming or not? Yes, users data is coming to the table. Now let's go to table border is equal to some value. Border is equal to 1. Add new user, view users. Users data is coming in the table. Click on add new user. Let me add some John @gmail.com, John phone number. Click on save. User saved successfully. Click on view users. John record is coming. Click on add new user, some Smith. Smith.@in.com. Smith phone number. Click on save. User saved. Click on view users. Smith record is coming. Got it? Now, frankly, tell me where you guys stuck. The people who are not able to develop. People who are not able to develop. Where you guys stuck? Where you felt difficulty? JSTL. Iterating the list in the JSTL. Now you got the clarity? Yeah, in the servlet, whatever the list of users data I am getting, that users data I'm storing into request attribute. Key and the value. Key can be anything. Whatever the data we are storing in the key with value, that key we are using as items. Items is equal to dollar of users. Var is equal to user. What is this var is equal to user? Each user object will be stored into this variable. Variable dot username, variable dot email, variable dot phone number. Whatever the data is there in the each user object, that data is printing in the table. Got it? Yeah. Next one. Apart from this, what else that you guys are not able to do it? Any other scenario? Any other thing that you guys got confused? For each loop. Now you got, what is this for each loop? For each tag to iterate the collection. JSP to servlet communication. JSP to servlet communication. We are setting the data in the request. We are redirecting the request from servlet to JSP, request dispatcher. Okay. Some people, what they have done is in the index.jsp, directly they have given view users.jsp. If you give view users.jsp, from index.jsp, it will go to view users. But a data kaise milega? Servlet should give that data. Empty page will come. Empty table will come. Okay. So from in this hyperlink, we should not call the JSP directly. We need to call our servlet. Whenever you click on the hyperlink, request will go to servlet. DoGet method will be called. DoGet method will call the DAO method. Will get the data. That data we are storing into request attribute. We are redirecting the request to view users. View users using a table to print the data. How the data coming? Items of users. It is my key, which is servlet sent. That data I am iterating and printing in the table format. Okay, 4 users are coming. Understood my point? Now what is the next step? Edit and delete. I need to add edit functionality. I need to add delete functionality. So what I mean to say is, here I need to write one more. I need to write one more column called action. Okay. Now here I need to print in this TD. I need to print 2 hyperlinks. A href is equal to some value. Now that should be my edit, and a href is equal to delete the record. Okay, here I will give some space. Just to give some space between 2 hyperlinks. Okay. Now add a new user, view users. Now what I got? I got the action, edit and delete. Okay. Now my requirement is edit and delete. When I click on edit, nothing is happening. When I click on delete, nothing is happening. When I click on edit, it should go to first page and data should display here. When I click on edit, it should go to first page and the data should be displayed here. When I click on delete, it should ask me a confirmation. Are you sure you want to delete? Okay. Then record should be deleted and the latest data should be displayed. Did you understand my requirement? When I click on edit, what should happen? It should go to first page, and whatever the data is already there, it has to print that data. Now, when I click on a delete, it should display a pop-up. Are you sure to delete? Yes. Okay. If I click OK in the pop-up, then that record should be deleted. Are you clear with my point? Can we do that today? You will try or I will explain? Yeah, got it. We need to add one script. One function. Tell me guys, you guys will try or I should explain now? You will try? Pakka? Okay, let's take a break for 10 minutes. We'll meet after the break. I will give one more project requirement that you need to try. Fine. Tomorrow, do you have any morning core Java class? Time? 7:30 to 9:30. Can we have advanced Java class also? No? Which workshop? Multi-thread workshop. Okay, fine then. Cool. Okay, let's meet after the break. I will tell you one more project requirement. Just to try doing the analysis. Tomorrow you need to do that analysis part. Today you work on edit and delete. Whatever the requirement I am giving now, that is for tomorrow analysis. First I am giving the chance for you to think and write it. If you are not able to, then I will explain that. That is how we need to learn, guys. Yeah, take a break. We'll meet after the break. 10 minutes break. Online people, 10 minutes break. Again, we'll continue.